So let's discuss about the Namarupa and Vinnana. So you can just bring out that question you wanted to ask me.
Yes, so I was reading, I'm still not 100% clear, to be honest, on this adivachana, like how exactly it happens, because it says it's a Vedana, there comes a Vedana from it, but is that Vedana, that is only when I have the contact with the concept, which is also Rupa, right? Which is the
Yes.
Dhammarupa.
Yes. So let me explain what this adivachana is. The adivachana in simple terms is language and connotation. Okay. Now we can perceive something of Patvi, Apo, Vayo, Tejo only when there is language. Otherwise we cannot perceive. There is no sanya of that. So what we have done is that, let us say we have said something as a laptop and something as a computer. These are adivachana. So there is a vedana, there is a feeling which says that this is computer and this is laptop, right? And that is framed in the mind. And the mind would now objectize it, would say this is what is meant as laptop and this is what is meant as computer. So the patigha, let us not go to samphasaja vedana right now. Let us only hold ourselves to these two, how they interact, and then only the samphasa, because both samphasa are the same. There's nothing like in this side, left hand side samphasa and the right hand side samphasa, it's just samphasa. So let's drop it for a while and we just only understand what is happening. So we basically have only these four elements and they are in a dhatu form. That is, it is condensed to a certain level. So when I say kaya, its actually meaning is collection. But now I cannot say collection all the time, and then the question comes, what is this collection all about? And then I have to say collection of 32 parts of body. And then the question comes, what is this 32 parts? And then we can say that 20 parts as solid and 12 parts as liquid, and there is gas and there is fire and all of that. And then it is very hard to remember. So I'll give a name, that is adivachana now, to call, and we make it a standard. So we would like to call something a standard measure so that everybody can identify that accordingly. So it becomes very easy to communicate. So instead of every time saying there are 48 different parts and then each one is having something like 20 of solid and 12 of liquid and 6 of gas and like that, what we do is we say kaya or body. So when we say body, the question then comes, is it an animal body or a human body or deva body or this body? So now we have also defined that so that there is no confusion. So we have called something as a human being and we call that as a body. So now there is no confusion left. So whenever we say body, we tend to take our body and we say this is my body and this is Luca's body because they both are separate beings. So it's yours and this is mine. So we have also called it as a first person and we also made it as a second person. So the first person from my perspective is me and the second person in my perspective is you. And the first person from your perspective is you and the second person from your perspective is me. So now we have made this patigha work together. So when you say I don't say I. I will wait for you to finish that I and then you will say you. So then when I'm saying I, you don't interfere and say that, you know what, I am also I. And then you don't say that. You will say you. So we have made that I and you, he and she and all of these. This is the whole conceptualization called as adivachana for these four dhatus to identify. So as soon as something comes in either through chakku or to sota or to ghana or the jiva or to kaya or to mano, 1 second, there's a call. Just to be online. Okay, I'm back. So that's what we would like to do. That whenever there is this object, which we have said how it should be called. So this adivachana is how an object should be named, how it should be identified, and how it should be perceived, and how it should be sensed. The sensing is the manasikara. So we have made the vinyana to sense it and then keep it in one place, so that every time it can pick it up and show the result. It's just like, we do math, and when we get the answer, we show it. Yeah, here it is. So every time we do that, we get the answer, we feel very happy. So similarly, now we have memorized it, and we have made an expert of that, so we can identify whenever that thing comes. So this is how the adivachana and patiga happens. Now going further is that there is an interest in a particular object made out of these 4 elements due to the size and shape and color.
Sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry. Can I just a quick question?
Yes.
So the patiga has just to do with the basic elements, and the adivachana is the naming, identification, and how we perceive and sense it, and all these constructs and things we agree on, like you said, like with the body. Is it the human body? Is it an animal body? Then it's a collection of things, but we call it body, and then then getting like yours and mine, and we have a way to identify every possible scenario of or every rupa that we perceive, and also in different situations, I guess. Like it's called a different way then.
Yes.
And but the patiga is only the pure experience, so to speak. That is only the contact with the rupa, or
Yes. It's only the contact with rupa. That's all. So there is experience from each person. Because now what is he going to do is, first of all, it's a very good question. So what he's going to do is, he's going to identify in his mind and say that, is this the one I wanted to see? Is this the one I wanted to hear? Is this the one I wanted to touch? Is this the one I wanted to taste? Is this the one I wanted to think? Is it the one I wanted to smell? Okay, so here is what I get personalized, and that personalization is called as sampassa. So I have now made something which is universal to be called as mine, because now I want to make it mine from the rupas, what is generated either from my mind or outside. So I'm just comparing between what is happening in my mind and what is appearing outside. If it matches between what I want and what is there outside, I feel pleasurable, because that anxiety is gone. And if it doesn't matches, and then it doubles my anxiety. So I feel the pain, because it did not fetch what I was looking at, because in my mind I have a value associated with it. So what adivachana does is to create a value stream, which literally doesn't have any value. We create a value, just like we have dollars and pounds and kronier and this and that. And we have created a illusory value, and we said that this is the best currency and this is not a best currency. So we have created an adivachana out of these 4 elements. So basically it is a paper which is printed something, and then it in some language, but we call it as in whatever we should call it in that country, and then we have made a country and we have made it look special, and all of that is part of adivachana. So what we are seeing is just a rupa, but how it is demonstrated is that something is great in that, and something that we need to possess all the time. So without adivachana, there cannot be any rupa at all. So this Namarupa and Vinnana is the basic identifier or a sensor. It just senses. It makes you sense it. So basically whatever has been told to us about a country or a place or a subject, or we objectify it. There's no object as such, like science. There's no object as science, but we create an object of science. Then we create an object of physics. Then we create an object called chemistry. Then we create an object called biology. Then we create an object called physiology and sociology and so many things. These are the objects. But if you really go in deeper, there's nothing like that. But we have agreed that this is how it should be. So everyone speaking the same language would make them feel great, because now he knows that the subjects are there and this person can now master knowing this subject. So we are strengthening it through our adivachana and forgetting the rupas altogether, because now we are creating mental rupas than the physical rupa. The science subject doesn't exist. So we created a rupa now called as science. And since everybody says science, 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 so the mind gets to believe that this is science. And if you were to ask somebody, show me science, and that's it. So there is no answer to that. And somebody would say physics, and then ask him, show me physics. And he can show a book which is printed as physics, but he can never show what is physics. So all that we are doing is to create a nama for a particular rupa, so that we can enjoy or suffer along with that. As if you know physics and I don't know physics, or if you know Dhamma and I don't know Dhamma, if you know pure Dhamma and I don't know pure Dhamma, we have something to compare and fight and argue or do whatever it is, and because the rupas are coming and the rupas will say that this is the one you should have possessed, and then the manasikara, the ayoniso manasikara will say that, you know what, Lucas know much better than you, or you might think Vilas knows much better than me. So we have this first person, second person, you and me all the time, because that is adivachana. So the rupas get constructed in the mind, and then we start to see what we would like to see, not what really exists outside. Outside it's only 4 basic rupas, the Patavi, Apo, Vayo, Tejo. Whatever we touch, we have soft and hard, and then whatever we sense through our hand or legs or whatever, it can have coldness or heat, or it can be heavy, it can be light, it can be moving, it can be trembling, it can be flowing, it can be bonding. And so that's all what we have. But what we have done is that we have literally gone against that, and then we have made concepts out of it. And we said that, oh, you know what, heat means like this, and cold means like this. So we make something out of nothing, and that formation is called as Namarupa, Vinnana Pachaya Namarupa is the life coming into existence, and Namarupa Pachaya Vinnana is this proliferation of world that is called as papancha. So we create a world of our own through this 6 sense basis, ayatana, and then now what we do is we reside in that, and we say, this is the truth. So convention, when we say convention, that means everybody agrees that this is how it is, so that we don't want to get disturbed anymore. We don't want to say that there are 48 different parts of the body. We just want to say kaya, or body, and that's it. So when you say body, then we can say sculpted body, not sculpted body, fat body, lean body, good looking body, bad looking body. So like that we can now make a good and bad of everything. So we can come into duality now. So this is called as samsara. So when we create duality, then we want it to be the other way. So if somebody says that you're bad, and then you want to make it good, and somebody says that you're useless, and then you want to make it useful. But useless and useful are just concept. It's a misconstructed concept. But then I believe it is true. How do I know? Because that we have created it as a standard, as as a nomenclature or as a conception or as something to identify and say that this is what you are. And then since you comes into existence, which you did not exist, or I came into existence because I did not exist, now you and I exist because, not because we really exist, is because the language makes you exist. In whichever language you are, we have created this I and you and me and that and this. So we have made living and non-living, again a construct. So living being means that which can sense it, and non-living being means it cannot sense it, because we don't see table sensing anything or a chair sensing anything or a cushion sensing anything, and then we say, you know what, they don't sense it, and I sense it. So because there is consciousness, so there is this I sensing coming into existence, and everybody senses. So there is beautiful and there is ugly. Again, a way of samsara. So if there is beautiful, there should be ugly. If there is ugly, there should be beautiful. So the duality is what samsara is all about. As long as we get associated like this, we are in conventional truth. And this conventional truth is a hollow truth. It doesn't have anything at all. It's essenceless. That is, it doesn't have sara. It's asara. So the only thing I can do now is that I can or I want to enjoy it. Because that's why the reason I've created so much of concepts. I don't want to now suffer. So here is what the asada is all about, because this is what the mind made pleasure. So when I say beautiful girl or a beautiful woman or a handsome man or nice home, a beautiful home, or whatever I would like to put it, is that the definition of beautiful is to say that I'm feeling better than any other person, because that better can be defined by some exclamations like beautiful, wow, superb, or I can say homely, I can say sexy, I can say whatever. So I have created these adjectives to identify and say that if I use these words at any point in time, the other person will understand that he is feeling elevated. So he is getting elevated in the mind. The four elements are not getting anywhere elevated, anywhere between that person, that is you as you, and I as I. We are both are just four elements. But in our mind, we are getting elevated or we are getting down. So when we get down, we feel depressed. One second. So when we do all of this, it means that we are wanting to feel high. So when we go low, we get depressed. When we feel high, we feel elevated. So all of us would like to get into an elevation with this Namarupa. So what Buddha is trying to say is that first understand what is this Namarupa all about. It's just the language, connotation, conceptualization against four elements. That's it. Nothing more than that. If you remove Nama, the Rupa will fall, because there is no longer Vinnana associated with it. Why Vinnana is not associated with it? Because consciously we are bringing something into life which doesn't have any life. The beautiful did not have any life. It just appeared in the mind, and then I keep on telling that I felt very beautiful about it, or I felt very ugly about it, or I felt low about it, I felt high about it. So this is my mental construct, which is called as vipallasa or perversion. So I am perverted to an extent of accepting something which doesn't exist as existing. So that is the ditti vipallasa. Then you have a chitta vipallasa. Then we have avijja vipallasa. All these are a different kind of experiences what we make out of nothing. So it is better that we understand it in the first place about Nama and Rupa, and how this Vinnana plays around and brings it something which is not true to be true in the mind. Actually, everything we say, the name called Lucas, the name called Vilas, the name called as this person, that person. See, when we say a name, you need to then say, what do you do? Because that's again a convention. If I don't introduce myself to say, what am I doing? And then what should people say? They cannot identify anything at all. So I need to tell my designation, my role, what I'm doing and how I'm doing, how I've learned, what all I do, which all organization I've worked, and how big is my family, and where is my home. And so the more the identification, the more the adivachana for the same rupa. So all of these are mental constructs, and that other person also introduces himself with all of these. So now we both can talk using a language. Otherwise, we cannot communicate at all. So what humans have done is to create something out of nothing and then make it appear something is very important. So that's that is what it is all about. Any question, Lucas?
Yes, thank you very much for explaining. I do have a question. Yes, you said that when the nama falls, the rupa, it falls as well. What does that mean?
You cannot identify anything at all because the rupas existed in the mind.
Okay, but as long as the senses function, there's still the rupas coming to the mind, right? And
Yes, the rupas will come into the mind, but there is no identification. That identification, you remember, beautiful, that wouldn't be there. So in the Vinnana, the 9 stages, only 3 stages remain. That is, you have Chitta, Mano, Manasan. That's all. Will not go to Hadayan and all that. The Hadayan comes when I say it is beautiful or it is ugly or it is good, it is bad and something like that. So the Rupa still will come, but there is no identification with the Rupas. Did I make sense?
Yes.
Okay.
So, and this is like with the, there's this karmasthana, this rupa, nirodhai, nivansura, the nenava, and with all the, with the aggregates.
Yes.
Like this.
Correct.
This is like, because also Abhaya, the Venerable Abhaya Thero, he also talks about ceasing the asada loka, right?
Yes.
And this is what you're talking about, what we create with the adivachana, like we create this asada loka.
Yes, this is an asada loka, so that comes out. So that no longer will be there. So you instantly nirodha about it because it never existed in the first place. Did I answer?
Yes, yes.
Okay. What else you want to discuss?
So, because you said the sampasa is the same with the, because there's the patika sampasacha vedana and there's the adivachana sampasacha vedana, and you said it's not like there's sampasa on the left hand and on the right hand, it's just sampasa.
It's just sampasa because there is an interest. So there is this raga, dvesha, moha in the sampasa, whereas an arhat would have only phassa. There is no samphasaja vedana in an arhat. It doesn't appear to him that he needs to possess that because he has understood the reality. He's understood that it's only 4 elements what is everybody is running around with. There is nothing in this world which is something which can be possessed. So there is no samphasaja vedana. There is vedana, but there is no samphasaja vedana. There is only phassa and vedana. So what happens is, as the rupa comes to an arhat, he will see it as just rupa consisting of Pathvi, Apo, Vayo, Tejo, and he doesn't get associated with it. He doesn't proliferate it. He doesn't enjoy on that. He doesn't say this is mine and this is I am this or I am that. She is mine and he is mine. That first person, second person, third person, this object, that object, this is a good looking object, that is a bad looking object, nothing of that appears. So there is no sampasa. So it is not born out of this sampasa. So just Vedana. So he will also have a Vedana. So the Kama Gunika is going to be there even for an Arhat, but he doesn't have any proliferation out of that Kama Gunika. So he doesn't do anything beyond just identifying it and then leaving to that. So if a woman comes, he knows it's a woman. So he has Chitta, Mano, Manasan. Manasan is the state when he can identify it's a man or a woman, and that's it. He doesn't go beyond that. He doesn't go and say, this is my wife. Oh, she looks pretty in this dress. Oh, she looks very ugly in this dress. Or, she's my girlfriend, or she is somebody whom I wanted to adore and have it, and, I want to possess her. And when my wife is also there, I want to possess her, let us say. So I possess in my eyes or in my thoughts. So even though I'm talking to my wife, I might still possess that lady's part of her body and start enjoying it. So that sampasa doesn't exist in a arhat. It will be existing in all of us in some form or the other. So in a normal worldling, it is fully there. In a Sotapanna, he knows that there is a danger of doing that. In a Sakadagami, he still has that identifier and identification with these very objects. And then in Anagami state, he loses that Kama Raga. So he doesn't any longer be able to enjoy it. So the suffering is almost gone, except that he has mana and all of that. And in Arahat state, it just comes as a Vedana and comes as a Phassa. So in the five things like Vedana, Sanya, Chetana, Phassa, Manasikara, in the Arhat, it is Yoniso Manasikara. In the Anagami, it is Yoniso Manasikara. In the Sakadagami and Sotapanna, sometime it is Ayoniso Manasikara, sometime it is Yoniso Manasikara. And also in the Sakadagami stage, the person loses interest to possess material comforts. So he knows it is futile because it might break, it is no guaranteed and it doesn't work, might work, all that is condition based. So he has understood Paticca Samutpada. So he would not try possessing anything. If it is there, it is there. If it is not there, he doesn't go behind it. Whereas in the Anagami state, what would happen is that he would have lost all that interest. For him, it is only about Rupa, Vedana, Sanya, Sankhara, Vinnana, followed with Adivachana and Patigha. And at the state of an Arhat, he has already gone beyond the mana. That is, the mana still exists in Anagami, whereas mana is no longer there at all. So if somebody spits on that Arhat, he doesn't feel bad or anything because he knows that this just what has been spit is no spit, it is just liquid. So he doesn't get agitated at all in his mind. And agitation is totally gone even at an Anagami state. So that Kamaraga and Patigha don't appear in Anagami. But it is reduced in the Sakadagami, still exists in a good quantity in a Sotapanna, and the normal worlding Puttujana is not even aware that anything of this exists, like an Adivachana and something called as Namarupa, that he doesn't even know. He believes everything is true. So he believes physics exists and chemistry exists and zoology exists and this exists, the sun exists, the moon exists, the world exists, I exist, my friend exists, my wife exists. Everything for him is an existence. So the moment it is removed out of existence, he will cry. And a Sotapanna knows that, this is all mental constructs. It is not real. So he is on the path. Whereas the Sakadagami is experiencing it. And he knows sometimes he still falls prey to these asavas which are there in his mind, but fairly he understands the danger. And anagami has removed most of it, so he doesn't, he has crossed across and he's almost coming to the shore. And in the case of an arhat, on the Namarupa, he has split out the complete Namarupa itself. So there is no longer Namarupa existing in the mind of arhat. That's all.
Thank you. Very, very well. So, do you need to finish to answer your calls, or can I ask something more?
Yes, I'll just go to what is it, nature call and be back.
All right.
Yeah, Lucas, I'm back.
Hello.
Yeah, I'm back.
So I'm still trying to understand why we have one sampasa that we call patika sampasa and why we have one that we call the adivachana. Because as I understand it, both come from the adivachana, because I cannot have an asade from the patavi apo vayo techo, because they don't give me the pleasurable feeling. It all comes from creating this namarupa, right? Or from having this nama for the rupa and the expectations. Correct. So why is there a patika sampasa then? Sampasa javedana. I understand that there's patika sampasa, like when I experience the elements, and then I have this notion that like this is something, this is some, like you say, this is the laptop, and or I'm trying, like you said, I'm trying to have this, I want to see this, I want to hear this, like now I'm having like I'm putting a condition on my experience where I'm trying to gain something through my senses, but I don't really get why there is patika sampasa vedana and adivachana sampasa vedana.
Okay, so we need to understand on the rupa side of it. So patika sampasa is that it's at a dhatu level where it is condensed to a greater degree. So when it's not in real Shuddhastaka, even though we call that as a Shuddhastaka, but what mind perceives is what is indicated in the Satipatthana Sutta. So we have dhatu manasikara pabbam, and that is what is the sampasa all about. So what happens here is that here I have as a gati liking for either softness or hardness, or heaviness or lightness, and roughness or softness. So whatever the 6 combinations are there. So let us say I want hard things. This hard is in the mind. So how do I explain hard? So there is an adivachana, and what I want to possess is hard. So in some people there is something they want to possess soft. So a woman would like to possess hard things because she wants her husband or boyfriend to be hard, so that he can take care of the family. And a man expects the woman to be soft, both from the interaction point of view and the body point of view. Nobody would like a woman to have a masculine figure, and nobody would expect a man to have a feminine kind of figure. And this is what is called as patigga sampasa. Because in the rupa, at a dhatu level, we already distinguished what we should be having. So depending upon what we want to hear or touch or taste or smell or think or whatever out of those 6 senses, the strongest one is the gati what we have. So we would like to enjoy that, and that is the reason in the rupa there is this sampasa. So a normal worldling will have not only adivachana sampasa, he will also have patigga sampasa. And also Sotapanna would be having these two with him because he is yet to discern or dissipate these two coming together. He has understood the concept, but he is yet to really experience the Namarupa Paricheda that he is yet to experience. In that sense, the explanation is that they both exist as separate samphasa, even though I could take it as one. At an arhat state, that is when I really experience it, I find it only one. There is no two things. It's only one thing. It's only samphasa. Did I answer your question?
I'm still a bit confused about it, but I think I will have to reflect more on it. And something that also struck me is you say like the hardness or like patavi, we can also put it to character qualities.
Yes.
And I also noticed in the Deshana on Paticca Samuppada, you talked about the nutrient element, and you said we always look for the nutrient in the people we meet. So for example, we want to have a friend who is productive because he can somehow then benefit us in our own life. So he has nutrient for us.
Yes.
So they should not only be thought about as physical qualities.
They're also mental. They're also mental. See, what we do is a physical thing, we put it in our mind. As an example, you just see any woman, she would like her husband, would-be husband should be broad-chested and a nice muzzle and this and that. That is what is existing in her mind. She wants it hard, so the person should be very hard. And in the speech also, he should be very deep and all that. So that is exactly what that samphasa is all about in terms of rupa.
So, but there is also like I wrote about this. I think samisa. This come from the Kama Guna, the samisa sukha vedana. And so,
yes.
So would it not be like kind of, yeah?
Yeah, please. I mean, you please complete it.
So wouldn't it be normal for somebody who was born as a man to have a certain reaction towards a woman, or is that all, like, can we separate it? Can we say, yeah, this is like, these are the defilements, or is there still a kama guna? Is there still going to be this samisa sukha vedana when a man sees a woman? Will an arahant still have a samisa sukha vedana? I understand that when he tastes honey, he will taste it sweet, and it's edible food, or it's like, from what I understand, he would get this samisa sukha vedana from it, and if he were to eat the feces, he would get the samisa dukkha vedana. But in both ways, he would not get attached and create the mental fabrications about it. But what about the woman? Would he? Maybe it's hard to answer that, but I'm wondering, because for me this is then connected with this patiga sampasa, because when I have this hardness now, is that coming because there is this kama guna, or is that coming because I have the sun, because I have a defiled mind?
Okay, very, very good and very deep question. So let us understand from a normal worldling perspective and also from an arhat perspective. In the normal worldling perspective, there is sun plus kama guna. Both are operational. Okay, so he is a distorted person. It is full of vipallasa. Okay. So what happens is, when he sees a woman, he will see it as a desirable object or a non-desirable object, and he would like to possess. So this is coming out of the sam. And when it comes to the kama guna is part of the kama vipaka. So the kama guna exists irrespective of whether he would like to enjoy or he would not like to enjoy. So the identifier is going to be there. that this is a woman, or this is a girl, or this is a man, and this is a boy. All that is going to be there because that is the Kama Guna. As long as he is in the Kama Loka, this is going to continue. So apart from that, this normal worldling has a possessing ability. He would like to possess or enjoy or whatever it is. So that is the possession ability, and that is going to be there. Now when we come to a Arhat state, only the Kama Guna exists. That is, he identifies and calls it as a woman. That is, that level of identification is going to be there. But that beautiful woman or ugly woman will not be there. That is the sampasa. That is the some part of it. That some part will not be there. But he will still recognize it as a woman. He cannot say it is a stone. So there is a sutta in which Sariputta explains beautifully that Ananda asks Sariputta, is there a possibility for a person to not identify anything at all, but yet has all the sanya and vedana and everything intact, but he cannot identify at all? So the Sariputta explains to him that just like you have a thatched house consisting of some leaves and some twigs and some bamboos and all tied together, you call it as a home or a house. Similarly, a person who has gone beyond as an arhat or a tathagata will call this flesh and bone and this skin which is covering all this flesh and bone as a being, and he might call it as a woman or a man, and that's all. He knows that it is just flesh and bones, it is nothing else. Whereas a normal worldling and a sotapanna or a sakadagami would have different levels of interest in that thatched house, or the skin and whatever is there and which is covered with the skin. So there's levels of interest. So for a Pottujana, the person is attracted towards that skin, and he would say the skin is mine, and I am the owner of this skin, and this skin and the body exist for me. So this is what he would have. When it comes to a Sotapanna, he knows that if he considers it as his, or he is that, or it is made for him, then he is going to suffer. So that much amount of bondage is not there for a Sotapanna. When it comes to Sakadagami, he doesn't want to possess it. He just want to use it. He doesn't want to possess it. So when it comes to Anagami state, he doesn't have any further identification. He is as good as an Arhat. The only difference is that he still have a Asmi Mana with him. And he would like to enjoy in the Rupa and Arupa experiences. Other than that, he is like an Arhat who just identifies just till the level of the skin. He doesn't go in prolification of that whatever he is seeing and saying that this is me and this is mine and this is made for me. So that wouldn't be there. Arhat anyway, he doesn't have any one of these. So he doesn't have a Ditti, he doesn't have a Tanaha, and he doesn't have a Mana. In the case of Anagami, he has a Mana, he doesn't have a Ditti, but he also doesn't have Tanha. In the case of Sakadagami, he has Tanha and he has Mana. In the case of an Sotapanna, he doesn't have Ditti anymore. He has the other two. So they all will see the same thing, but in the case of an Arhat, he will still see it as a woman. He doesn't see anything beyond a woman. Did I answer?
Yes, I'm trying to wrap my mind around it.
Okay.
because here what Lal writes, he says, as humans we enjoy certain sights, sounds, tastes, smells and bodily contacts. As long as one has a human body, it is not possible to avoid generating a Sukha Vedana due to such sensory contacts. Even
Yes.
Arahants feel those. So I'm wondering, like, would the Arahants still get the Samisa Sukha Vedana from seeing a woman, but he would only identify it as a woman, or maybe it's not a relevant question, but
Yes, the identification itself is samisa. He shouldn't have been able to identify at all. See, even an arhat has to go through the 3 stages, which is chitta, mano, manasan. He cannot just remain at a chitta level. That's not possible. So if you read Lal's explanation on the 9 levels of Vinnana, maybe you will be able to get a very much clarity on what I am trying to say.
okay,
So,
I'll do that.
yeah, because this is the Vinnana which makes him feel that. It is not like Arhat is trying to make out of something of that. The Vinnana will go through this immediately. It goes through 9 for all of us, but in the case of Arahat, it will only go through 3 of them. It will have a chitta, which is pure, that is the pabhasara chitta. Then immediately there is mano, which comes in, the mind gets created, and there is a manasan, that is an identification. So the manasan is a point where, that is from mano to manasan is the point where it becomes samisa sukha. In everything, including a woman. But he doesn't enjoy. For enjoyment or suffering, you require hadayan. That is where the 5 sense base will start into ayatana. So it doesn't have ayatana in an arhat. He just have indriyas. He doesn't have ayatana. So you need to go deeper into those into the 9 states of Vijnana.
Yes, I see. So from what you say, with the Manasan, with that stage, there is the Samisa, Sukha and Dukkha, which is connected with Indriyas, and once we go to the Hadayam stage, then it starts with the becoming Ayatana, and then we have the Sampasa.
Yes.
Okay.
From
Okay,
from Hadyan onwards, we are in Sampasa.
Well, thank you. I will have to read on that, yes. Okay, thank you very much. I think I'll have to digest what you told me.
Yes, so we'll again meet up some other day once you finish your analysis.
Thank you very much, Vilas.
Okay then, see you. Bye-bye.
See you.